Welcome to the Stratford Cash Podcast. Here are your hosts, Jay.
And thank you, George.
Thank you, George.
It's good to be back.
It is good to be back.
Hey, everybody. How are you doing?
Hope you're well. Hope you're all well.
To the Stratford Cash post-Labor Day podcast.
Number seven.
Seven.
Yeah, we're lucky number 7, I hope.
Oh, we missed you guys.
Yeah, things have been happening for a while there. We were on sabbatical for a little while.
For a little while, you could say.
Just for a little while. Things were a little
busy.
That's a good word. A good word.
Right, but not to neglect you, our favorite people out there in podcast radio listening land.
And thank you for listening. We do appreciate it.
Yeah. We were just talking about that earlier, just as I had almost spilled your drink, which I apologize for spilling your cherry cola all over the electronics.
Yeah,
and
well, actually, it
else.
didn't hit any of the electronics, Jay, and none at all. It was
miraculously. I wish we had cameras for this one.
If
we had cameras for this one, it would show somehow like the angel of
it
the Stratford
managed
Cash
to
podcast.
miss every wire on the floor,
Right?
Every electrical connector between it and the tabletop and the floor, which includes our sub mixer.
It's a miracle, folks. It
It's
really is.
How did it miss? It was inches away, and somehow not a drop.
Well, see, folks, here at the Chicken Hacienda, being Labor Day, we gave the boys in the booth the day off, so we're doing this ourselves, and we've got wires just strung everywhere. And Lair, might I say, you've done an amazing job at both engineering and co-hosting this thing.
Well, thank you, Jay. I appreciate that.
I appreciate all you do here on Labor Day, man.
Well, I appreciate you too, and all that you do, not only here on Labor Day, but every day.
Oh, well, it is great to be back here at the Chicken Hacienda.
Yep.
Once again, the chickens sound a little restless.
Just a wee bit,
but I think they've missed us.
They seem to be happy to see us when we got here today. There we are.
I felt welcome.
I felt uplifted. I did. Yes, I felt welcome.
We pulled
like,
up.
Hi, girls.
And it was like bienvenidos.
Yeah.
Than ever.
Things have been
for the four of you out there listening.
Yeah,
we've been working hard.
We've been working very hard. Things have been going on in our personal lives.
True.
That have had us on the road and undergoing medical procedures and things of that nature, and life.
I think that we were just kind of apologizing there for disappearing on you guys for a little while. We definitely have not negated or shirked our duties. To bring you as much music as soon and as often as possible.
We've been working.
Is that our manifesto? Yeah, we are still working very hard, but we have not honestly had a chance to get this done. We have multiple false starts. We have tried to do this on multiple attempts, and it only worked out at the earliest, where he and I were even at the same place at the same time long enough to get to episode number 7 here.
Yeah, it's been hectic.
It's been tough, but it is good to be back, and a lot has happened since when we saw you guys last.
Yep.
And I wanted to talk to Lair just about a few of the what I found to be the most interesting things that have happened around the world. I was wondering, you being a news junkie.
Junkie?
Yeah. Well, yes.
Who says? Don't you? Who you calling a junkie? Ain't no junkies around here. If anybody be a junkie, it's got to be you.
That's what we call you behind your back.
Son of a...
It's not that you call yourself that, of course. No, but I know that you are very, very well kept up with the news.
To some degree, I might know a little about
very well informed
current events. I try to keep
very well
abreast of I said abreast of those sorts of things.
Well, I was just wondering, you being very, very well caught up, to the minute, if you heard about the bat with the rabies discovered downtown. Not just bats.
Bats.
plural, numerous bats
Yes,
in our downtown area with the rabies.
Actually, I have heard about that story, and believe it or not, they have had this issue ongoing for quite some time downtown because, for whatever reason, bats, there is a certain type of bat that just loves those old buildings downtown.
Yeah,
and they've been building colonies there for who knows ever, maybe forever, probably. But you know, they're in there. They're in the workings. They're in the mortar. They're everywhere up in there. And at night, at dusk, when they come out to play, it's like clouds of them. Let's move on.
All right. Moving on. My favorite thing I think that happened over the break here, it's a little. It has a sad ending. It has a sad ending, right? But it has a really cool beginning. And I was wondering if you had also, again, we haven't really had a chance to even catch up, but if you had caught the story about the, I think he worked for the airline, maybe the airport, and even though this guy is nowhere near being a pilot, this guy stole a big plane out of the I think it was SeaTac, Seattle Tacoma Airport. Guy takes off joyriding. Oh, yeah. They dispatch like 2 fighter jets after this guy, and he pulls some loop-de-loops. He's having a back and forth with old flight control there, and they're like, "Hey man, why don't you just turn that thing around?" And I think, you know, to paraphrase what he had said, "Man, you know, what do you think they give a guy, you know, for doing this? Probably life, right? Like a guy like me, you would think." Life, right?
I heard a couple of snippets of that conversation.
Yeah, fascinating stuff.
The guy was very. First thing that struck me was how calm he was.
Yeah, he's laughing and like, going back and forth. It almost didn't sound real. It sounded
like it was staged.
Yeah, like a bit
really
or
did
something.
At first, because he was like, "Hey man, things are kind of cool.
So relaxed.
I'm having a good time. Nothing's wrong here."
Yeah, the fighter pilot had said this guy pulled off a move he could not believe, and when flight control asked him about it, his response apparently was he pulled that thing off because he'd played a lot of video games.
Oh my God!
Can you believe that? Video games. This guy steals a plane,
learns
pulls
how to
a full-on,
fly.
like, you know, Top Gun Maverick move, loop-de-loop style.
In a passenger jetliner.
Exactly right. And then sadly ended up crashing on the island, and unfortunately, you know, but I mean, hey, he went out in a blaze of glory, right? You know, he's not locked up for the next 40 years or whatever it was. He was a relatively young guy.
Yeah.
He even claimed, "Hey man, I'm just a messed up dude. You know, I'm just joyriding here on the airlines."
I'm cashing in.
Right? Yeah. And went out in a big, you know, I feel bad for his family, of course, you know, that's got to be tragic for them. And I'm not making light of that. I'm just saying I've really dug this guy's style, man. You know, if you're going to go out, and he definitely chose kind of the way and how he went out. He went out in style and a big blaze of glory, I think.
Giant blaze of glory. I was totally impressed with that part of the story about how into just doing what he was doing. He wasn't. It wasn't like he was some kind of insane guy raving and ranting about some jihadish or something, you know?
Sounded like a guy we would hang out with.
Yeah, like a guy you would have a beer with.
Yeah.
You know, or beer and pizza.
To the podcast, right?
Yeah, invite him over to the podcast, find out what he's up to.
Right, yeah.
Okay, he sounded like that kind of person.
He would have been
okay, somebody you would feel comfortable around. Okay, and yet he had this, I guess he must have had a death wish.
Yeah, I guess. Who knows, right? But that was one of my favorite news stories. And, you know...
well, the one... can I tell you one?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I'm sorry.
Have you heard about this guy? He's stuck in the airport in Dubai. And he's been there for 8 months now, 7 or 8 months now.
Is this a Tom Hanks movie?
No, it isn't, but it sounds like it.
Steven Spielberg directed? No.
He's a Syrian.
Okay.
And he was working at some kind of job that had him flying around for a while. Mm-hmm. And suddenly he gets to the airport, I think it's in Dubai, and can't leave. His passport is taken away from him, and he's no longer able to leave. And he's stuck there. And he's been stuck there for months now.
Really?
Yes, and he has communicated with Tom Hanks about it. This is one of the stories I saw on the late night news.
Really?
In the middle of the night.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Overnight news.
I told you.
And I'm like, what in the world what are they talking about? A movie again? Mm-hmm. Somebody remake that old Tom Hanks movie? No, it's a real guy, and he's really stuck. He has no passport, so he has no citizenship, and he's not being allowed to leave. No country is allowing him to enter without the correct passport. So
what can you do, right?
With no way out.
All right, so
great story. Huh?
That's an uplifting story. Thanks for sharing that, Larry.
You're welcome. I thought it was a cool story.
Yeah. It's something that you and I have talked about numerous times as we have escaped near death, numerous occasions out on the road. Not so much when we leave town to go and play somewhere, but when we're driving around this town, the town that we kind of both.
You mean when we're trying to run simple errands around
when you're
town?
Just going grocery shopping, or more often than not, I come over to the Little Dirt Studios 3 or 4 times a week, so. That puts me about 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back. So,
you're out there. Town.
Yeah, you're exposed out there for about an hour. And numerous days I have felt like there are assassination attempts on my life. Like I've got a contract, like the mob cares whether I don't make it home or not. And I've got paper out on me, a contract on my head.
Well, I do minimal driving between our get-togethers,
right,
and my weekly appearances downtown. I do very little driving in the rest of the time, and I still find myself almost dying out there. Someone doing something that makes it incredibly dangerous for me suddenly.
Yeah, the motorcyclists.
Just always. There's always somebody there.
There's somebody out on a road, not even the freeways.
No.
Somebody out there.
No. The freeway usually is where I can avoid things. But if I'm lucky, I can, and I see it in time, I can jump off on one of the off ramps that I would normally bypass.
Sure.
And go, shall we say, surface side. Surface side to get where I'm going. Otherwise, them people out on that freeway is jammed up like sardines, and they're moving about 25 miles an hour. Wait a minute. I can probably do this or than this if I go surface side. And even with stoplights and pedestrians and
surface side,
the man, I'll still get where I'm going probably faster than if I try to get out on the freeway.
The man. It's interesting you say that, because those guys are like sharks out in the water. Every once in a while they get one of us, and they make everybody really nervous for a while as they all kind of slowly inch by the guy, trying to act like, we're abiding by the...
We're trying to abide by the speed limit, officer. Don't look at us. Don't look at us.
Exactly.
Please don't.
However, now we have statistical, empirical proof vindicating what you and I have thought and said all along, which is this is the most dangerous city in America, which might make it the most dangerous worldwide to get from one end of the other. You're basically taking your life, your chances of getting home in one piece, you're just taking them in your hands.
Especially
every
if
time you leave the.
Especially if you use a motorized vehicle.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, we're not just talking about walking around on your bicycle, but yeah,
Even those things are dangerous.
Oh, absolutely.
Even
Because then
those
you have to
things are
contend with.
dangerous.
But there have been now studies that have corroborated what we have said, which is based on all these metrics, such as most DUIs, most traffic tickets, most pedestrians hit outside of a crosswalk. I mean, there were just like 10 or a dozen parameters on all of these different ways that put our town as the worst town in America to drive in.
Wow.
Hands down. Like number 2 was a distant second. It was like half of what it is driving around this town.
Yeah.
So,
well, hey,
it hits home locally. That to me was the most eyebrow raising, as they say, bit in the news. Just being that it really did drive home what you and I, have said all along, as we're just trying to get around town. Moving right along, plowing ahead, as they say.
Plowing
forward.
And it looks like Gannis is outside the chicken house.
Hey, Gannis, what do you know?
Yeah, he made it.
He made it for his interview after all.
So,
well, there you go. I mean, we got a lot of things coming up here in the podcast, and we've got our hopefully our interview with Gannis if he signs off on the paperwork
On the release.
on the release is there. So,
we got chicken bacon pizza to tempt him with.
we have a chicken bacon pizza to sponsor the session.
Although chicken at the chicken house.
Oh, that is cruel. That's like getting like a chicken omelet.
Yeah,
Think
but
about how messed
remember
that
when we
up
first
that
started
is, man.
coming to the chicken palace, he was out front eating fried chicken
That is
in
messed
front
up,
of the
man.
girls.
Yeah, that's messed up.
And I was like, really? You're going to eat? No, dude, come on.
Dude.
Really?
Hey, speaking of outside,
yeah,
it's time for the Stratford Cash weather forecast. What's the weather like out there, Larry?
hold on a second. Let me check.
All right.
Best I can tell,
Yeah.
it's still bad out there.
Go!
It's still bad.
What do you know?
Can you hear me?
Oh.
Okay, it's bad. Okay, here.
Hey,
Put
welcome
my
back.
headphones back on. Okay,
Welcome back.
It's really funky out there. It's hot. It's
Are you kidding me?
sticky.
No way.
It's not quite as smoky, but it's still thick air out there right now.
That would explain why I feel so. I just can't.
See, I was just out there, and my lungs have filled up with some kind of filth.
It's brutal. Yet again, just outside of Stratford Cash headquarters, the weather sucks.
Sucks.
Yeah.
That's
well,
never a good
see
sign.
if we can wrangle him in here.
Okay. Okay, well, it's time for our shout out to someone in the area that we know or who has some effect on the music scene. In the past we've talked about folks like Tommy G, friend Mr.
Marty Taters.
Yes, our good friend Mr. Marty Taters. Well, this week I'd like to talk about another good friend of mine who also has become quite influential in his own special, unique way in the Sacramento music scene. That man is Marty Gannis. Okay? Give you the shirt off of his back, except you don't want it because it's full of holes and things like that. But Marty,
But he would give it to you.
But Marty was one of the most supportive people I met. He was the one who put out the first tip jar and the tip sign. Later he gave me the money, but I'm not sure. He may not have. So without further ado, I'd like to open up tonight's segment with an introduction to my good friend, Mr. Marty Gannis.
Would you say it's pretty warm outside?
Yes, but in the shade, it's almost delightful.
Well, it's pretty warm in here, actually.
No, this is not in the shade. This is in the bunker.
Well, then we thank you for being here at the Chicken Hacienda.
Yes, thanks.
Yeah, we appreciate you being here. Hey, so, everywhere you go out there these days, your local comedy event, a lot of, we were just talking about farmers markets. Everywhere you go, it seems there's more and more food trucks. What are your thoughts and feelings about food trucks and the growing trend thereof there?
Well, I've been in the restaurant business because I do refrigeration and commercial appliances. And I just love that stuff.
Yeah.
All the stainless steel and the aluminum. And it's hard work.
Yeah, it's like a little restaurant inside of a truck. It can't be comfortable just to work within. I mean, that's...
I know.
I don't know. Yeah, those guys got to be working hard, and not like.
And I've seen some fantastic dishes.
Like, oh yeah, the food coming out of there.
They had the pork truck, which looked like a pig, and the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile type stuff.
Yeah, we highly approve of the food truck trend.
Yes.
Speaking of things that we do approve of, due to hit the market next year, we're looking at the introduction of high fidelity records. Records are going to have a little bit longer playing time, and built into the name, it's supposed to be a little higher quality. How do you feel about that? That coming soon? Vinyl's back in a big way, and now all of a sudden we're looking at hi-fi vinyl. You for it? You against it?
Oh, I'm for it. If they could stick to one format for recording for a while, I think it would be worth it. But if they start changing it again, like a digital record or something,
right?
Like the Laserdisc, they went to funk.
It didn't really work
Beta
out.
went to funk.
Right.
All that.
Right. Do you have a favorite ice cream?
Yeah, pistachio almond.
How do you feel about chicken omelets?
Chicken omelets?
Chicken omelets. They fry up their little babies, put them in the, with the chopped up chicken. You for it? You against it?
Well, being a Jew, being born a Jew, that is sacrilege. Like meat and milk, eating that together.
Yeah, I'm with you. Cool.
So yes, and it's a total insult to the animal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, disrespect.
But that's the guise of the Jewish law that respect the animal.
Eat them?
No, I would not.
Oh.
I would be upset.
The Native Americans believe that we all have a spirit animal. What would you say your spirit animal is?
My spirit animal. I think I would be. I like the Wolverine actually.
Oh, good answer.
He's a pretty rugged dude.
You being
He's not too pretty either, so
no,
that's right down my alley.
Downright ruthless. Those Wolverines. Now, you being a musician, I'm sure you have. You got to have an opinion. Marvin, you got to have an opinion. Oh, about the state of affairs of music today, live music. How would you say the state of music currently is, locally, at a national level?
I feel a lot of it is.
It's changed.
It's changed. It's dumbed itself down from music from the 60s and 70s.
Right.
And I don't know if there's any new things to explore without sounding like something else. But
all avenues have been pretty much, reinventing the wheel.
Yeah, you start talking crazy stuff like Frank Zappa used to.
You a big Zappa guy?
I liked him a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. What was the best? I mean, because I'm fascinated how there was such a small period there. You brought up the 60s and 70s where there was such a wealth of music that came out of that small time period that we're still listening to. It's going to turn into classical music in the sense that, the next generation and their generation, the next generation after that are going to be listening to that same music. Whereas the 80s aren't, they're not aging nearly as well as that late 60s, early 70s.
Really, and a lot of young people, I play a Beatles song, they know it.
Right.
And I was playing some songs that Linda Ronstadt song the other day, and never heard it.
Right.
Linda Ronstadt can't sing anymore anyway. But who's Linda Ronstadt? You know.
Oh. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of them that these kids are not listening to. However, Blair actually pointed out the wisdom in trying to keep your ear to what's going on out there. You may not agree with it, you may not listen to it, but you should try to hear what's going on in a contemporary. The Dixie Chicks are pretty good. What do you think?
I don't have any current persuasions. No one's persuaded me to follow them and listen to them. Maybe I'm short-sighted on the way that I'm really not giving my ear to it. Maybe I should. And then we're talking about a rap to this girl, and I said, I'm sorry, I could just take any verse from any song and say it, and I could act like a great rap star. I know all the words,
Right.
but everybody else knows the words too.
Right.
But I listen to these rappers, all these kids know these songs.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time putting in.
Word for word.
They're putting in, it's nice to see it. It's like an anthem when they do it, but
Right.
underneath, I don't feel it's a clean thing a lot of times, being a parent and all that. But I guess my girls, they all got boyfriends, so.
Who are you listening to right now musically in the Gannis Mobile?
No, I have a cassette player.
What cassette player you listen to?
None. They're all lost. I had some nice ones.
Yeah.
I was listening to Paul Simon,
Paul Simon?
The Only Living Boy in New York. My daughter
Classic.
said, "Oh, that's a great song," and I try to learn it.
Yeah.
It's a good song.
What holiday is celebrated December 26th, I think, to January 1st, is named after the Swahili word for first?
Kwanzaa.
And remind me again, which country is also a continent?
Australia.
And Earth's largest living structure as seen from space is...
The Great Barrier Reef. Some say it's mycelium in the ground somewhere, like in Pennsylvania.
Right. Hey, thank you very much for being here. Marty Gannis. Folks, Marty Gannis.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yay!
Yeah, and that was our interview with Mr. Marty Gannis, one of those many, many characters on the music scene here in Sacramento.
So grateful he was able to spend a little time, sit down with us, and share his thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, he was really nervous, though, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I could not.
visibly.
He could not sit still for a second. I thought he was going to roll out the door on that chair.
The newspaper was great.
The newspaper, oh yeah.
Clutched it out of his hand.
Got to get it away from him just to get it to stop.
Yeah. Well, again,
I love that guy, though.
I'm just grateful
telling
anybody
you.
can get across town, and make it to the Chicken House and
Safely.
for their interview or
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah, safely and alive.
Hey, speaking of, Larry,
Yeah.
how's it looking out there with the Stratford Cache traffic report?
Oh, well, give me just a second here. Traffic's kind of slow. There's not a lot going on out here right now. So
Everybody's out of town for Labor Day, post-Labor Day.
post-Labor Day, yeah.
That must be it.
Yeah, that's it. Or at least for the weekend.
Right. Oh,
Because
yeah.
it is the weekend.
As they always do. That's the best part of this place, right?
That's right.
It's close to a lot of other cool places.
Places to go. Yeah,
that you
that's
can
right.
get to in just a short road trip. Or,
Yep, an hour or two,
Maybe not so
and you're
short.
somewhere nicer.
Speaking of somewhere nicer,
Or at least safer anyway, where they drive better.
that moves us into our next segment, our Tales from the Road. Look who's back! Anyways, do you remember the time? Gather around, kids.
Gather round,
I love
children. We're
Strawberry
going to
Cat.
tell you a little story.
Uncle Jay would like to
Where's my
talk
water
about the
bottle?
good old days. Speaking of road tripping, when we took a little trip down to what's known as the Promised Land.
The Promised Land.
You know,
Where's
through those beautiful hills of wine country,
Wine country?
eventually winding up in the Central Coast, where the women have all congregated somehow to go to that school there in San Luis Obispo.
Oh, yeah.
And we, do you remember? Okay, so on our very first trip there, we were asked to play with another band. Their name was Rain for Rent, I believe, and we were set to play
something
kind
like
of
that. They had a violin.
They had a violin player, a female drummer. Their singer went on to front another band, which we can talk about here in a minute.
Okay.
But yeah, that was an interesting show in an art gallery that, if memory serves, was more like a rich man's barn converted into a big art gallery.
Yeah.
Run by some, don't get me wrong, very nice hippie folk, clean hippie folk.
Yep.
But very, very grateful too. They were so generous and you know, they just went to great lengths to make us feel welcome and to show how appreciative they were that we drove all the way down, you know, to play a couple hours of music with Rain for Rent that night.
And we weren't promised any money.
Yeah, didn't they put like some...
They put a tip jar.
Yeah, there was some kind of offering at some certain point, because I remember leaving, there was some unexpected money.
Yes.
And it wasn't all for naught.
It wasn't very much, but it we did get something from it, but we went down just to play.
Yeah, just strictly.
I remember we did. That was before we had a drummer.
Yeah. We were drummerless at that point, and just to get out of town, I think was the point. We'd played a lot around town, but you know, if you're really gonna cut your teeth on, you know, being a live band, you got to get out of town.
Yes, you do.
And that was one of our first forays, and it just kind of fell in our lap that those guys were coming through town. I think the connection was we had a cellist in the band that we were in at the time, and they had a violin player. So it seemed like a good fit, a good bill to put the two of us together for a show like that. And the show was fun.
Yes.
And I was impressed with Travis, who went on to front Blind Melon, who, interestingly enough, was just at Harlow's the other night.
Really?
And I don't know if he still fronts them or if it's somebody else. I'm not sure, but
wow, that's amazing.
very, very interesting. Travis. And there was one album that they recorded with him, and I thought he was the best part of Rain for Rent. Not to take anything away from those other guys, but Travis with his 12-string guitar, good singer, good frontman.
Yep.
And not sure what happened with Blind Melon.
Yeah. Now, was that the trip when we came back through the restaurant and?
No, that was because we had a drummer.
No, we had a
drummer at that
then,
point. Yeah, that was
That's
part
right.
of that. So there you go.
That was another
folks.
trip down there.
That was a different trip that we will get to in our future segment of Tales.
You see, that's
from
what
the
happens
Road.
when you get old, kids. You can't remember things. It's like, I could have sworn.
So, our next and newest segment here at Strap for Cash podcast,
Which is
we're going to call this For It or Against It. Are you for it or against it?
or again it.
Could we dumb it down any further?
If you're
You guys?
for it, we're again it.
Yeah,
If
there
we're
you go.
for it,
Yeah,
you're
we
again it.
have drawn a line in the sand, and we are putting you on one side or
The other
there you go.
side.
So this week we would like to talk about food trucks, and not that like Siskel and Ebert. I enjoyed watching those guys disagree more than I saw them agree. There was nothing really interesting.
Well, that
they
was
were both
what-
like, oh, that's a great movie.
Yeah, well, that was what made the show popular.
Yeah, when they
So,
were just like, you, what are you talking about? What movie were you watching?
you and I must have seen two different shows.
Yeah, that was interesting. But I believe that you and I are in agreement here that we are both strongly for the food truck phenomenon.
Yes,
The
yes.
food truck
I
craze.
strongly agree with that statement.
Yes, we both say two enthusiastic thumbs up to borrow.
They're excellent. And with the California state laws governing mobile restaurants, they are clean, they are safe. You can get all kinds of food from the food trucks now.
Yeah.
It's not just hot dogs and hamburgers.
There's variety, but there's also a kind of a higher level of food. You know, it's very far from the taco truck. You know, what was the derogatory term for the roach coach?
Roach coach,
I'd heard that, you know, called. But no, this is so far beyond a roach coach. This is gourmet food, some of it, not all of it, but a lot of it, you know, high-end food on wheels.
On wheels. And it's amazing. And even the food that isn't quote-unquote high-end food is amazing food still unto itself. And you come away feeling good about eating it, and it's easier on your pocketbook than those places where you get the high-end food stuff.
Yeah, there's no gratuity. Well, there's not as big a gratuity. You're not sitting down in a restaurant. You're not taking up space, you know, that you need to kind of rent, so to speak, you know, built into the price of, you know, the menu there. But I also am impressed with how people have taken this into their own backyard barbecue, their quinceañeras.
Oh, yes.
You know, their celebrations now. Hey, we're just going to call our favorite food truck up, and it's the coolest way to, you know, basically cater your function. I wish we should get a food truck sponsor for this for this thing
out here at the Chicken House.
You know, we have endorsed them so heavily.
Yes,
but,
yes, I am definitely for food trucks. I love the idea of a place where food trucks can congregate and people can actually get a wide variety of food in one location.
Food trucks are good. Mm-hmm.
Without it having to be a festival or a
Right.
concert or something like that.
And you know, I feel very grateful to be here, welcomed with open arms to the Chicken Palace here. However, they really need to do some insulation between Studio A and Studio B there.
Yeah, I hear a little something
the,
like that.
the guys in this one
Studio
yeah.
B there.
Well, I mean, it's clearly not finished yet, you know,
Yeah.
the walls and all that, but
Yeah,
it leaves
but
a little
still.
to be desired.
A little
So,
bleed.
yeah, apologize about the bleed there.
Yeah. So let's move on, shall we?
Right,
What's
right.
next on our
Well,
agenda here
you know, we
tonight?
were going to talk about, as our good friend Sanjay would say, Sanjay's going to be here next month, by the way.
Is he?
Yeah. He's
Outstanding.
gonna be around. So maybe
Can't wait to see him.
maybe we can get Sri Lanka's, our ambassador to Sri Lanka. Maybe we can get him here on the podcast.
That would be
If you could sit-
fabulous.
Wouldn't that be cool?
It would.
Oh, you guys are going to love Sanjay. Anyways,
Maybe even boost our ratings.
we can go international with it.
Maybe.
Maybe. Well, we'll see, because we have been talking about for quite a while now the Sri Lankan island tour, hopefully slated for next monsoon season.
Next monsoon. Yep, that's all right.
And I think that's tsunami season coming up
yep.
next summer.
Yep.
So hopefully we'll tell you guys more about that as it
If
kinda
we're lucky,
comes
we
up.
won't have to catch any big waves.
If we're lucky, right. But as Sanjay would say, good old days.
Good days, sir.
So yeah, we would like to talk about, you know, a lot of these tales from the road were when Larry and I were with a different band, a different time, a kinder, gentler day. But we were in a band called the Nuance for a long time, actually.
Long
in
time.
band years, we were together for you know, a millennia. Or,
about 70
you know,
years.
Yeah,
80
something
years,
like that
something
in
like
band
that.
years.
Band
yeah.
years, yeah.
Well, yeah, we were together for a long time in a band called the Nuance. And so our first number for the podcast is an oldie, but a goodie, as they would say.
Yeah,
as Casey Kasem would say.
We're going to
yeah.
go back to our roots.
Yeah, and I believe we have talked kind of off the record about re-recording this song, because we thought you know, might have some potential where we could rework it, and you know, it would be a kind of labor of love revisiting an old song, and not that there's a lot of old songs that we want to revisit in this way or kind of cover ourselves. I think this might be the only one, at least the only one that we've talked about. So, but this one was it was interesting because live it took on a football huddle atmosphere, where I recall kind of our friends at the back of these places that we were playing all getting together like you would in a football huddle and throwing back these shots of tequila Usually, as I think we ended with this tune more
Yeah.
often than not.
More
So yeah, it
often
was like
than
a celebration of tequila. I'm sure my mom's very proud of that.
Remember that bunch of people who wore the Team Alcohol shirts?
Yeah, there was Team Alcohol, straight out of Chico, California.
Is that where they were from?
Yeah, well, that's where it originated
Yeah,
from.
and they came down.
Halloween
And
team.
that was a heck of a show.
That was a lot of fun, but there was a lot of tequila.
A lot of tequila.
So this turned into kind of like a little anthem for tequila. So again,
good song.
You are welcome, tequila, out there. And so again, you guys will be the first to hear about if or when we start to re-record this song. But this is Tequila Good Times 1.0, and as always, we here at Stratford Cash, we really, really hope that you like it. And even if you don't, we appreciate you listening.
Yep. So here we go with Tequila Good Times.
Woke up this morning, coffee table all over my head. Drank myself under there instead of there. Talking about this, that, and the other one. Drinking down, then we're gonna have some fun. And I think that I might just get this right. And I got a feeling that you also might. You know how it goes, those tequila good times. You come away with me on an endless Friday night. Now I know I'm not the only one. One more round, then you say you're done. But all the same, nonetheless, you never say never. I got some time, I got some money, let's spend them together. And I think that I might just get this right. And I got a feeling that you also might. And you know how it goes, those tequila good times. You come away with me on an endless Friday night. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. And always something else I should be doing. Have I painted myself into a corner and then I find it easier to break than bend. And I think that I might just get this right. And I got a feeling that you also might. And you know how it goes, those tequila good times. You come
good song.
Okay, and that was Tequila Good Times. I hope you're all feeling good now.
Oh, it feels like a trip down Amnesia Lane, doesn't it?
Yes, Amnesia Lane, good old Amnesia Lane. But
good
yeah,
song.
yeah, it brings back some
Good old days.
some strange memories.
Good old days, sir.
Yes, good days, sir.
Rap for Cash, deep thought of the day.
Deep?
Actually, I don't have a deep thought of the day.
You don't?
No, I'm going to, if I could, quote the late great Philip Seymour Hoffman. Ah, Philip Seymour Hoffman, wherever you're at,
Wherever he
you were
is.
the coolest. Anyways, Philip Seymour Hoffman, he was in a movie that, say what you will about the movie. This one little story that he tells. Philip Seymour Hoffman in a role that I thought he was the best part of the movie, tells a little story. Story goes like this.
Wait, what movie was it?
Doesn't matter.
Oh,
I don't
okay,
know.
I don't
We'll probably
care.
get sued if I say what movie it was.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but
Those of you who are fans will know.
yes, exactly, and you'll know who you are. Philip Seymour. I don't do impressions. I don't do voices, but
I don't either.
he tells a story, and I'll tell it in my own voice, about a boy on his 14th birthday. He gets a horse, and everybody in the village says, "Oh, how wonderful! The boy got a horse." And the Zen master says, "We'll see." 2 years later, the boy falls off the horse, breaks his leg, and everybody in the village says, "How terrible!" And the Zen master, he says, "We'll see." Then a war breaks out, and all the young men have to go off and fight, except the boy can't fight because his leg's all messed up. And everybody in the village says, "Hey, how wonderful." And of course, the Zen master says, "We'll see." That's deep, huh?
Yes, very, very deep.
Yeah, I saw you in like your own Zen meditative deep kind of state over there.
Yeah, I was drifting.
Or were you just trying not to sneeze?
That too.
Yeah.
But I actually was contemplating the wisdom behind that.
Yeah, it's deep.
Very, 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 very deep. Very Buddha-esque.
Yeah, I thought you would enjoy that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We're going to my early New Year's resolution. I'm going to go ahead and call it here in early September. I'm going to say I'm going to try to get better at plugging our wares, hyping our stuff, man, getting our stuff out in front of people's faces and melting, said faces with the awesomeness. Oh, I hate that word.
I
that,
do too,
That
but-
is Strap for Cash.
Yeah, I have been lax in that area myself.
So we could both do a better job at
I
promoting.
definitely could do a much, much, much better job.
Yeah, in this
of
day and age,
promoting.
man, everybody is pushing their stuff. It's all about them. It's all about me, and we could do a better job. We're like the Democrats, not doing a very good job at selling our. We could do better. So I'm going to do better. I'm going to pledge that to our listeners, our 4 listeners out there, and starting with letting you guys know that you can find us on that Instagram. We are found at Strapped4Cash, and 4 is spelled F-O-U-R, like the number 4.
Yeah.
Strap for Cash, and we're also on that Facebook at Strap for Cash Project, and I think Strap for Cash, it might have a $7S.
In the word
So,
cash.
yeah, if you can't find us at Strap for Cash, spelled normally, check us with cash with a $.
Yeah.
But
In the word cash.
on the Instagram account, kids are all about the Instagram. And
Yeah,
so I was playing with it the other day, and you know how they have that Q&A thing. I turned it on. It was like 24 hours or something, and we got a couple of questions here. So I thought, this is the forum to answer said questions, right? I didn't want to put it out there. I didn't know if I should answer them because we don't have a Twitter account, so we couldn't, answer it that way. So I thought this is the next best thing without maybe, putting these people out there.
And
I
we
didn't
probably
know.
need to learn how to answer on Instagram too. So
Right. So, anyways, one of the questions were, are we going to be Rhonda? Actually, help me, Rhonda.
hey, Rhonda.
Rhonda asks if we were going to be at the Bluegrass Festival in San Francisco. I think that's October 5th. And sadly, Rhonda, we are not going to be playing at that Bluegrass Festival.
We're not considered bluegrass.
Yeah, we are not bluegrass enough for that festival. They continue to tell us, bluegrass up. You guys don't sound bluegrass.
You guys ain't got it in you.
You ain't bluegrass enough for our Bluegrass Festival.
Not for us. You
I
ain't
don't
even
know.
got a banjo in the band.
I don't know if they say it with that kind of accent, but that's in my head. That's how they sound. So no, thank you, Rhonda.
I grew up
for asking.
around people like them, and trust me, this is how they sound.
Yeah. Another guy. I shouldn't call him a guy. The horse with no name.
The horse with no name.
Yes, he actually prompts the whole, my preemptive strike there. Shots fired.
Please, it's a cell phone. It's a cell phone.
The horse with no name asks why we are so hard to find online or anywhere else for that matter. So we, again, I pledge to you, horse with no name, that we are going to be easier to find. I don't know if we're going to do a Twitter thing, but we are definitely we have vowed to be more active on the Instagram. And definitely at the Facebook page as well. There is a video out there on YouTube.
And you can help us, horse with no name, by remembering that the name Strapped for Cash is not just a clever name.
Oh, no.
No.
It is a clever name, though.
It is. It may be a clever name, but it's not just a clever name.
No, it's not.
We actually are poor as poor can be.
Mm-hmm.
We are truly strapped for cash.
Yep.
So if you, horse with no name, would subscribe or donate or
Hey, tell a
click
friend.
follow
Tell a friend.
and tell a friend, tell
Horse with no
seven.
Tell 7 friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that there.
That would help us increase our presence across the worldwide internets.
It sure would. So, yeah, please help us get the word out, grassroots or otherwise. And the last question, well, it's actually not even I don't know, is this just turning into like an advice line or something? I don't know why anybody would ask advice from me. And it's funny because they're not asking advice from me. This is actually for Lair.
It for me?
Yeah, as apparently some guitar player out there does not want nor need my advice.
Well, let me get my voice on.
So for the real guitarist in the band,
So yes, caller.
this is for you. This is for you.
How can I help?
Says, what is more important when starting to play the guitar? Playing lead or learning how to play rhythm guitar first? But love to know your thoughts about that.
Well,
I don't know who.
Do they have a name?
No.
Okay. Well, guitar player,
Guitarist.
guitarist.
That's what they're called now.
They're called ist now.
In print, it's all guitarist.
Ist. Okay. Okay. Well, guitarist. I'm glad you asked me that question. In my opinion, it's much, much better for you to start by learning your chords and your rhythmic patterns as well as chord progressions, because once you start to play lead, knowing those things will help you to generate much more positive and interesting lead lines. So my opinion would be to start with the rhythm guitar and not lead guitar.
There you go, folks. Gold, Lair. Giving you gold right there. So you can take that to the bank, guitarist with no name. I don't think that was the horse with no name, although the horse with no name, good name.
Good name. I liked
Very
it.
good name.
Memorable.
Right. We lost another one this past week, Lair. Aretha Franklin.
Yes, the Queen of Soul.
Oh, it's a sad, sad day. So we just want to say you will be missed. Thank you for everything, Aretha. That voice, that presence. It's a big loss.
Yes, and all that you did for us in the music world, as well as for the people of color in America with your civil rights work and your humanitarian work and your philanthropy. Thank you.
Thank you.
You will be missed.
Well, we would like to leave you with our acoustic cover of Bob Dylan's Lovesick. We also have a video for this online, the official video Strapped for Cash, just called Lovesick. That's 2 words, I believe. And it's also our recorded version available where you can find music everywhere, Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, all the rest of them. But this is, if you were to come to see us play on the 21st downtown at 10th and S Street, you might hear a version similar to the one that we're about to play here, coming live from the Chicken Shack. Again, our cover, acoustic cover, Bob Dylan's Lovesick. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great week, a great month, and we will talk to you next time.
Just as soon as we can. Good night.
Good night.
I love Jaffa Tech.
sick of love. I wish I never met you. I'm sick of love. I'm trying to forget you.
It's a good song.